Yes, it's Monday lunchtime. It's 12:30 and it's time for live and linking. And so I like talking about LinkedIn, don't I? I like helping people with LinkedIn. And I see lots of other people doing amazing things about LinkedIn. And I was watching this guy doing a little bit of a chat on LinkedIn on his own, like I'm doing now, live. And I was conversing with him. And then if we jumped on DMs and we had a little chat. And he said, if you ever need anybody else on your shout out, yeah, why not? Come on in. So let's talk to the expert, Chris James, all about LinkedIn. Hello, mate. How are you?
I am well, my friend. Thank you for having me. That intro was fantastic. It got a big smile on my face just seeing all the positive vibes needed
Absolutely.
for a Monday.
Yeah, we do, don't we? I think, life's too short and we worry too much about everything. And look, what's the best that can happen, eh?
I like it because I've had a pretty shit morning. I've been looking at personal tax returns and VAT, and that really winds me up. So, thank you for bringing the sunshine back.
Oh no, good for you. Yeah. Look, we do have to do our tax returns, and we do have to pay the VAT man. But yeah, it's not the fun part of your job. You should be outsourcing all of this to your accountant, mate.
I have, but she, I'm married to her.
Fair enough. I'm not even going to go there. Yeah. Well, look, you're very good sorting it all out now, because don't we have to wait until January, or are you on MTD and you've got to do it now?
MTD. Yeah, so 31st, so 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Have you got time for this show today?
Yeah. If it gets me out of
that. Yeah. All right. I'm a welcome distraction and happy to be that today, Chris. Right. For those people that don't know who Chris James is, tell us who you are, what you do, and where are you?
I'm based in a town called Macclesfield, which is very close to Manchester. My name is obviously Chris James. I am the ex-loser, currently trying to be a winner. And I help creators, coaches, consultants, online experts build, market, and sell their service using content, conversations, and systems, pretty much. Systems for everything. Does that answer everything you asked? I can't remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this is what I love. This is what I love. Content and systems, right? And I think that's the bit we need to nail. Because I was going to say we could all write content. No, we can't. hence, I've written a book. You've written a book as well, haven't you? What's your book called?
I have indeed. It outsold Alex Hormozy on Amazon for the best part of 7 seconds, and it's called Content to Clients.
Content to Clients, yeah. Alex Hormozy, didn't I read somewhere he sold 3 million books in like a day or something?
I think it was 72 hours. Yeah, I was on the launch for that, watching it. It was fantastic.
That was mad. Yeah. What did you learn?
I learned a couple of things, actually. I was keeping up because it was a live webinar and it went on for hours. And I've been to a lot of live webinars over the course of my career. And I didn't keep I wish I had. I wish I'd kept a tally chart, but the number of times he asked for the sale during what I think was 3 hours, if I remember correctly, was insane. You know, if you've ever been on a webinar, a lot of the time they'll give a load of value. They'll do a pitch. They'll ask for the sale once. He asked for the sale earlier than halfway through, but then continued to add extra things and continue to ask again and again and again and again. And by the 3rd, 4th, 5th, the millionth time that you're asked something, you're probably going to break if you've not already left the show.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So this was a proper focused Guinness Book of World Records sort of, I'm going to sell as many books as I can.
He knew what he was doing, had a whole team behind him, definitely had a system. And I think the other thing was he wasn't just selling the book. He was selling 3 copies of the book. He was selling 200 copies of the book that people like you and I could go and give away or donate to our audiences. He was then selling a 6K upsell, a 24K upsell, a 50K upsell, and maybe even more than that as well. So he grossed over 100 million in those 3 days.
Wow.
Which is obviously the whole point, because that's the title of his first 3 books, 100 million offers, leads, and money models.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but he started out like you and me?
He did, yeah. Maybe slightly bigger muscles than myself, but apart from that, yeah, he was a real grafter in the gym space. And what he did was get his own gym off the ground after literally sleeping on the ground at the gym, met his wife, and they realized that, again, there was a system for turning gyms around and flooding them with new members, I guess is the word, members, and keeping the members there and upselling the members. And then they turned that into a productized it, turned it into a package, and literally flew out and sold it to loads of other gyms, and then sold that to do what they're doing now.
And this is what you're teaching your clients to do with their content and their systems.
Productization, I think, is a real important thing. And again, I believe there's a system to that, and to putting an offer together, slightly different to Hormozy's way of doing things. But yeah, I have a system for helping people put offers together, which is, it's all about the people first, and then the problems that they have and that you're going to solve for them. After that, it's the phases that you go through, so the journey, and then the parts or the bits that you sell to them. Then we need to put a price on it, or tiered pricing, and then we wrap all of that with a promise, so a marketing-focused promise that will appeal to those people who are experiencing those problems.
Oh, fantastic. And you've got on your profile ex-loser keynote speaker. So what brought you here, and why are you an ex-loser?
Well, ex-loser implies winner, right? You can't be a winner and a loser well, I guess you can. I guess you can. But you wouldn't be a loser and a winner at the same time. I don't know. I had a lot of potential in school and never lived up to it, said every school report ever. And I think that's the definition of a loser, right? Like, you're capable of doing something, but you're not doing it. And I went down the wrong path for years, with the drinking and binging and stuff like that. And I lived like a loser. I was in a dead-end job when I was capable of more. I worked for the weekends. I would go and get absolutely smashed at the weekends, and then hate my life for 5 days, and lived it on repeat for 10 years until I met my wife and had my daughter. And that changed things significantly.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. And so what's your journey since then? And what brought you here?
Oh man, it's been pretty crazy. It's been very much a blend of personal and business life all mashed into one. I left my call center job after begging my best mate, who I met at the call center, to get me in with this marketing agency, selling content that he did sales for. And he was like, "We can't take you. You're good at sales, but you've got no marketing experience. It's just not going to work." And it was true. So I couldn't argue with him, even though I tried. And he rang me up one day and said, like, "We need someone who can get pissed and go to events and talk and basically form relationships with other agency owners and brands." And I was like, "Oh, I can do that." So he got me in at the earliest opportunity, and, forever grateful. We've got a great history between us. He's doing some amazing things as well now. And I went over there. I was one of the only people that actually got a deal in the first month, with his help, admittedly. And then I started selling content to some massive brands, household names, and I started to understand the marketing journey that these brands were trying to take people on to get them to the point of conversion or repeat conversion, or just to become a customer, whatever. And then COVID hit. I got a bit bored, and I started posting some terrible content on Instagram, scared to show my face, scared to show my name for a number of reasons. And then someone messaged me and wanted to pay me money to help them with their business. And I was like, okay. So I was still employed. I was on holiday at this point in Whitby, in an Airbnb. And I remember saying to my wife, like, "I think I could make like £160 here. I could sell 2 hours of my time to this guy." And I did. And yeah, the journey continued with me working with a couple of people one-on-one. And then my brother-in-law was killed a few months later. And I remember that being the turning point, and going, I want to build my own thing here. Life is far too short. So I quit my job, and I went all in on trying to help people land more clients using content. In that part, this was all predominantly on Instagram. In that part of the journey, I came over to LinkedIn, because LinkedIn was what I knew, but I couldn't post on there because of my job.
Because you're employed.
Yeah, and I didn't want anyone to know, obviously. So I blocked all my then colleagues on LinkedIn, and I went to work a couple of months in advance after my notice had been given in. I don't think I've even unblocked them, so sorry guys, you're obviously not hearing this. Then it grew very, very quickly, and we got a load of clients in, and got on a few decent stages, released the book, and here we are.
It's just getting bigger and better and doing more things and helping more people.
Yeah, I mean, I grew quite quickly and started bringing in contractors and team members and stuff like that. We've actually made that a bit leaner now, which is great. We don't do sales calls anymore, which has been really, really helpful. So we're actually winning clients off the strength of the content and the brand a bit more. So we sacrificed a bit of revenue for that, but the profit margins seem to be up because there's less that has to go into it, which again is fantastic. And we're using 2026 as a bit of an experiment, which is one of my favorite things to do, long-term view. Is this going to work? Because we can't just test it for a week and say yes. So we're right bang in the middle of this, not taking sales calls anymore as an experiment. And I'm 50-50. I don't know. I enjoy it, but I think there's less revenue being made, more profit, probably less hours worked. So I will judge it towards the end of the year. But it's been a welcome experiment. I have more time. Similar amount of worries and similar amount of things on the to-do list, funnily enough, because those things never change. But yes, it's been a very interesting journey so far. The most important thing is I'm living life on my terms and I'm helping other people do exactly the same, which was the goal.
Yeah, and I think that's the cool thing. You've got a family. You can spend time with them. Do you really need the extra $1 million, $2 million, or whatever it is that Hormozi's got? And it's are you able to take a little bit of time off and go away for a few days and have a little break with the family? And that's the key thing, isn't it?
It wasn't at the start, and I think this is where I made a big mistake. I was optimizing for the money and optimizing for the wrong things. And now I think you hit a certain amount of money in the bank account and it will be different for everyone, but there will be a worry point, I think, in everyone's bank account where if you go below it, business or personal, you're like, shit. Okay, this is a problem. But I think if you're always above a certain line, or maybe you've got savings or whatever, if you've got this comfort blanket, you start to look at money very differently once you've got enough of it, which is easy to say when you've got enough of it. And I'm by no means saying I'm rich or have 7 figures in the bank or anything like that. But I've got some money, which means I can choose a little bit more where I spend my time. And then I kind of remembered I don't need to go and shoot for more money. I can shoot for more happiness or more fun or more freedom or more fulfillment or whatever it may be. And that's kind of the stage we're at now. I like the concept of introducing pain into certain situations. If you want to grow a muscle, you have to put it through strain strain and pain in order for it to grow. And at the moment, I don't think there's quite enough pain for me to have to change anything, which is a very odd scenario for me because I've always operated out of fear of something going wrong. So anyway, a little bit philosophical for a very
I like that sort of talk, because when you see people like Hormozi or Stephen Bartlett was putting his hands down the back of chairs in a restaurant to find enough money to live on. I don't know if you've read that story.
I've heard that.
It's in his book, and so he's forced to get on and do something. But if you're in a more comfortable position, you're not going to push yourself outside the comfort zone. If you've got a 6-pack, you're not going to do all the reps in the gym so much as somebody like me. But it's that sort of thing, isn't it? So you help people write content. So we write content, and I just want to go back a little bit. No sales calls. You don't do any sales calls, but you still win business. How many people listening to this are thinking, how has he done that? So come on.
No sales calls. I think the way that we've been able to do that is by taking fucking thousands of them and really understanding the target market. And I look back and I get asked this question quite a bit, like, why are you doing that? Was your conversion rate really low or really high? And, on average, it was about 3 out of 4 people would say yes and join us, which is crazy to think that you would kill a mechanism like that. But again, because we've got safety net or comfort blanket, I'm like, let's just try it, because I'm sick of saying the same thing again and again and again on these Zoom calls. And I used to take it personally when someone was a really good fit and didn't buy, and I would genuinely get pissed off, not for the money. I'd just be like, you're an idiot. You're an athlete. You need this more than anything. And I wouldn't necessarily say that to them, but what the fuck are you doing? So I think we're moving. It's much more of an attraction marketing based approach rather than like a push, like pushing people onto calls and desperation and stuff like that. But I still think in the early stages, you need to do it. And I don't know if this is the model that we'll roll with forever. I'm unsure. We dropped the price of the product, we cut the product in half, dropped the price of it, and said we'll test it with no sales calls. We did a launch of that new offer, and we did it through a workshop, and it worked really well. We had a load of people sign up on the spot, and that's where I'm like, okay, this could work. So we're still going to see. Like, it may come back. I don't want it to come back. But I do think I don't have a strong enough brand yet to command as much attention and like conversion through that kind of journey. Your conversion rate's always going to be higher if it's a one-on-one chat like this versus me shouting to a load of people on a webinar. And I don't think the brand is quite strong enough. We'll see if it carries throughout the rest of the year or not. That's it.
Yeah.
No,
but the thing is, right, if you've got to push somebody to do it, are they really right for it? And so your experiment of no sales calls means that you're not having to push anybody. And you had, 75% conversion rate. So, it's compelling anyway, which would then make you think, why do we need somebody to sit there and do the sales? So, yeah, like you say, so you're not making, your turnover's lower, but your profit's higher. That's what makes a better business. You're married to an accountant. I'm sure she can explain that to you better than I can.
Yeah, it certainly feels better because it gives me what I like, which is big chunks of time, and I almost have a theme for each day. And now I have all my calls, bar one call a week, are on Tuesdays. So all my regular Zoom calls, I'll hop on the odd one occasionally, but and that gives me 4 days a week to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you want to be doing. Rashida's just said that she's not a fan of push or urgency when it comes to sales and stuff like that. And, that's a key thing, isn't it? Because like Hormozy, you had to buy that book in those 72 hours. So yeah, he's pushing you to do it. So we've created the content. What's the system that goes on the back then, Chris?
This is what I spend all my time thinking about and have done for the past 4 years is what are this sequence of events that have to happen that allow you to take someone who doesn't know what you are into your world. And then once they're in your world, how do you build trust with them at scale, which is my definition of content. Well, it's not definition, the main objective of content, to build trust at scale. After we've built trust, how do we get them to convert? And then once we converted them, how do we provide the results that we've promised, and then turn that into content that can get more attention, trust, and conversion, i.e. proof, case studies, whatever it may be. So I kind of see it as this journey, which I'll call capture, invite. So capture the attention, invite them, convert them, deliver to them. That's sort of the 4 stages. And I see it almost as this cycle that you can go round and round. However, people build it in that order. And I think that's the wrong order. I actually think you should build it backwards. So you should focus most on the ideal client, perfect dream client, perfect future client. And then after that, what you want to sell to them, what they need, and also what fits your lifestyle, which is where I messed up massively. And I did it the other way around. So focusing on the delivery element first, and then going, well, how am I going to convert people? Okay. And how am I then going to build trust with them? And then bringing the attention in through the content at the top last. And you can do those first 3 things very, very quickly. And be like, I'm going to help this type of people solve this problem and get to this outcome. I'm going to do it only working 25 hours a week. I will convert them through sales calls, which is what I recommend most people do in the early stages. And then I will have this set of or suite of assets that I can push them to in order to build trust with them. And that's a scalable like content suite, if you like. Could be a video mini series, could be lives like this that you do every week. It could be emails, whatever, just some form of basic, easy to maintain, frictionless content format that you can refreshed twice a year, once a year. And then at the top, that's where I come onto stuff like this with you, or I go and speak on a stage, or I put out ads, or I start posting short form content on Instagram, whatever it is. That's how we open the floodgates up for this whole system to work. And then you've got 4 engines or mini systems that all feed one another. And that's the kind of thing I'm looking at right now in order to try and simplify our business, but also the businesses of our clients as well.
Yeah. So it's having the right flywheels in place. It's not just one thing you're doing. It's multiple conveyor belts that are all moving the person to turn around and click that button and buy now.
Yeah. Or book the call or download the thing or whatever it is. Yeah. So it's fascinating because the world has changed so much since I started getting into this. AI has made it different, shall we say, for better and for worse. But the content side of things, predominantly on LinkedIn, oh God, someone's got to do something about that. But I think most people start there. They'll be pointing at like, how can I get as much content out, or how can I just tick the content box? Write me a post about this. And the problem with that is, and I said this on a podcast not so long ago, I could pretend to be a brain surgeon and ask AI to write me an article on how to conduct brain surgery or your next brain transplant or whatever, and then put myself in a robe or get AI to do it and say, Chris James, world-class brain surgeon, and start posting content when I have literally no credibility in that field whatsoever yet. Who knows?
And that starts building the wrong kind of trust, doesn't it? But do you not think people see through that?
I think people who've been around the block a bit will. But I think anyone really should be able to. But I think I see a lot of shit AI content that still gets a lot of attention and a lot of praise, when I think what they're saying could be said by a million other people. And it looks very robotic. It's not actually a nice read. And I think the main problem is there's too much of it. Right, like the odd one wouldn't be that bad, but I think so many people are looking for the shortest way to get to what they think is the biggest outcome. And actually, they're going to find out that it will take them longer rather than just showing up and being themselves, which is actually, ironically, the fucking easiest thing in the world.
Well, it's what I say. Every single morning I get up, I'm me. I can't be more authentic than me. That's all I talk about when I write my content. And why is it that people get that so wrong?
I think, and I'm quite passionate about this because this was me at the start of my journey. I was creating mainly carousels on Instagram, so no video content. And I wouldn't even put my face or my real name on them.
Wow.
Because there were 2 reasons. One, because I was employed.
Yeah, and I didn't want your employers to know, yeah.
But even without that, and I actually sat down and wrote a list, but I had this feeling that my friends would say to me, who the hell are you trying to be? Are you trying to be the next Stephen Bartlett? And then no one ever said this to me, ever. Yeah. I made a list of the people that I thought might judge me, because I was like, I tend to be quite logical. Like, right, I've got this feeling. Why? Okay, who? And I'm like, I don't actually know. How many are on this list? And there ended up being 2. One was my best mate. One was another guy that I work with, or one of my best mates. And my best mate never said anything. He was like congratulating me to the max and was really happy, and actually hit me up a few months later for help and like to give him some advice. And the other chap has never said anything other than positive things either. So I had invented this narrative in my head that stopped me from doing the one thing I was hell-bent on doing. And I stopped because I thought other people might have thoughts about it.
And so many people say the same thing to me. They won't do anything for fear of what other people say. And like you say, it's probably the nearest and dearest. Not Chris in Macclesfield. It's my best mate, my boss, my ex-employer.
Yeah. Crazy.
So how did you get over that then, Chris? Because you obviously have.
Yeah, quite quickly. How did I get over that? Someone asked me this question not so long ago, and I responded with this story, which I think people operate in two different ways, right? You can jump in 2 feet to the deep end and see if you swim. I think a bit more risk averse. So I went to a boxing gym once and I got battered. It was full contact sparring, hands only. I think it might have been a mixed martial arts gym. Anyway, I got beaten up off this guy who was a similar size to me. So it wasn't like he didn't really injure me, but it was not a nice experience. He was a lot faster. He could hit quite hard and stuff like that.
Did you have one of those things on your face?
No, that happened later. No, it was no head guards. But I eventually, I never went back to that gym ever. I had a terrible time, but I still wanted to do the thing. So I tried out another gym, and they were much better at putting you in step by step. So we'll do a jab round where you can only use we'll start with body sparring. Then we'll do a jab only round. You can only use your left hand, which is a lot less powerful. And then we'll do 3 punches. And I trained with people who were a similar ability. And then once in a while, you'd go in with someone who was a little bit better than you. And that built confidence.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing and winning a couple of boxing matches, which is actually what I wanted to do in the first place, I think. But I had this horrible experience, and then I let it ruin everything, potentially forever, had I not found this way of just working my way up to it. And I think the content side of things is similar. So I started just putting my name out. I changed my name to Sales Guy Chris rather than being unbranded. And then I started including a profile picture. And then I thought, I'm gonna film some videos, but I'm gonna script them, and I'll go from a comedy angle rather than a serious angle, because then people won't be able to go, "Do you think you're Stephen Bartlett?" And they then started to do okay. And then I was like, I'll do a live on Instagram. But I wrote the whole thing, literally wrote the whole thing line for line. And then I got better at just using bullet points. And before you know it, you can stand on stage and just talk with no prep whatsoever, which was a bit crazy to think. But it was, if you are risk averse, I think just doing something that's 2% out of your comfort zone rather than 50 or 100 is probably the way to go. If you're a bit braver, then just do it, because like you said at the start, what's the best that can happen? We all focus on the worst. Like no one's going to die. Like nothing. So long as you're not standing up there being the worst version of any person ever and swearing and I don't know, I swear quite a bit, but I know being racist or calling out certain groups of people or getting too political or too religious in a room where you probably shouldn't be. No one's actually going to think too bad of you. And if you just turn up and say a few things for 5 minutes and then go, that'll probably help you significantly. It's very liberating.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's a great story about the boxing. But yeah, another question for another day is, why would you want to step into a boxing ring? But that's it. We're out of time, Chris. I cannot believe. Yes, I know. It's only a 30-minute show, but you're going to have to come back. We could chat all day. We could absolutely chat all day. Now, I've got this little feature that I do called Roast My Post. Are you happy for me to roast one of your posts?
Absolutely. Please do.
You're sure?
I am sure. Are you sure?
So we had a little chat beforehand, and you said, I'm up for this. So what about the one I did yesterday? So you want me to tell you why I don't think this is done so well. So you've got 10 likes, 1 comment and 1 repost. Oh, who's reposted that? That I can't see from my side, but you'll be able to tell me. There's a grumpy looking Chris there. You're a good looking chap, but it's a very grumpy looking Chris, very posy and moody. And the hook is, imagine you installed a smoke alarm that went off every time you thought a fire might happen. It would annoy you and be pretty pointless. I'm not a sweary guy, but this is you, and this is the thing I see with your content, 100% authentic. And this is what people are afraid of. and you own it. You absolutely own it. So why on earth are you inventing problems that might happen in the future business when you've probably got real problems to deal with them? Detect those, put them out before you start inventing new ones. Happy Sunday. So this is all you're doing here is you're having a rant, aren't you? You're sort of like just telling us what it absolutely is. And the thing is, I think what people have seen with this post is it's all right for you to say that because you can stand in a boxing ring and you can spar, but and this is absolutely ties in perfectly with what you were just saying, isn't it? We're worried about what our best mate's going to say. So I think with this, I think what it needs is a little bit more of a. You could put that story in that you've just told me about the sparring, rather than because this is how it is. But I'm not seeing any of the bit before. You're like, is a cake, bang. You haven't seen me sweating to make it. You haven't seen me throw away 3 lots of ingredients because I forgot to put this in. You haven't seen me kick in the oven because I lost my rag with it. It's like there's a cake, and so I think that's in my humble opinion, that's what I'm thinking isn't happening here. You haven't given us a little bit more meat on those bones. So yeah, that's my thought on that. What do you reckon?
Well, I agree. It's one-way traffic, which content doesn't have to be. I mean, instinct is to like hop in and defend it, but I don't want to.
No, I know. We're open to debate, mate. It's absolutely fine.
Well, all I will say is my content is written very quickly a lot of the time. And I think other people should be too, for the most part, especially when starting out. But that aside, yeah, there's no story in there. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Which again is very my style. What are you doing?
But we need that, Chris. We need that. Maybe your Sunday readers, they don't need that. I don't know, because again, don't you find different days you have your content does differently?
Yes, but I always find it really hard to put one thing up against another because there are so many variables with each post.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I used to only post personal posts on Sunday, so and Saturdays I'd keep my personal posts to the weekend, and I saw them drop off. So I was like, I'll do business ones and I'll put them here, and I'm like, what's the logic? And I'm like, well, you can't really have any logic apart from an overall feel for personal, business, ranty, story, short, long, video, photo. Like you can look at the metrics for all of them, but when you get really into specifics, I don't trust a lot of LinkedIn experts, because they'll go, I've analyzed this many posts. Like, 1, I don't think you have. 2, like they're incomparable because of all the variables that sit underneath them. So it has to kind of be a gut feel.
Yeah.
Apart
absolutely.
from the ones that bang and either get loads of attention and loads of leads.
Yeah, that's the thing, and because you're putting out lots of different content in lots of different styles, you're using the lives, you're using the posts, you're using the photos, you're using the polls. That's all we need to be doing, isn't it? So I can't believe you let me roast that. You're very kind. You're very kind. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to next week's guest. I've got Karis coming to join me next week. Karis Girl. She talks about stories, so I'm looking forward to having a chat with her. I don't know if you know Karis.
Well, I think we've spoken a couple of times in the DMs. Yeah. I don't think we've ever met.
All right, so looking forward to having a chat with her. Chris, you've been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. And how can people get hold of you, and how can they work with you?
Well, thank you for having me, mate. People can get hold of me primarily via LinkedIn. So if you wanted to work with me, be able to just click the link in my profile, or you can just DM me. I think I have an open profile. So, I mean, I get a lot of rubbish coming through the front door. So I guess it is an open profile, but that also means that people that aren't connected with me can also message me as well about good stuff, not just AI pitch slaps. So yeah, if you wanted to find out more about how we might be able to help, you can certainly shoot me a DM, or if you don't want to speak to me, you can click around on the website. Be warned that we have a lot of social proof, probably more than any other competitor program, but we'll leave that there.
Nice one, Chris. Thanks ever so much indeed. Thank you for joining us this week. We will be back next week at 12:30 on Monday with Karis. You take care. Have a great week.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to my show this week. I want to bring to you people that can help us running our business. I love having a chat. I'm very nosy, very curious, and I'd love to ask questions. So if you want to be a guest, or if you've got some ideas for guests, let me know. And if you want me to help you with your LinkedIn, get in touch, because I want to give you a voice. Now, that could just be using LinkedIn, but I do other things as well. So I can help you with a podcast, a live show, and all kinds of other amazing things. So get in touch. My name is Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and you can find me on LinkedIn.